Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Robin. I started this channel only a few months ago. It's called Follow the Sun Journey. My channel is about my last 5 years of living on my own. I left a 30-year marriage after we went through bankruptcy, we went through eviction. My father passed away and our lives went into the complete toilet. And it all happened within a 3-month period. So I had this cascade of horrible things that happened in my life. My whole life just was destroyed and mowed over. And just now, this video and my videos are all about surviving what I've gone through in the last 5 years after I left. So my husband and I moved to Florida. Our marriage got worse. He was very controlling and manipulative, and he was just physically getting abusive. And so I decided to dive in deep and leave him and the marriage and try to survive on my own. And that has been the last 5 years of my life, which have been crazy. I mean, effing crazy. So my first 10 videos were about what had happened. It was the precursor of how all this happened. So my videos, I hope, are getting better. I'm new. I had to learn all this. And so I'm learning how to video and edit and all that. And I love it. And I'm meeting a great community of people. So my last two videos was 5 ways to self-heal. It was how I think were probably the very 5 most important ways I had found to self-heal and rebuild myself and rebirth myself. My second video were 5 disciplines that I practice every single day. And you would have to go back to those videos if you wanted to see them and find out what those 5 points in each one are. So now we're getting on to the journey. What exactly happened? So we moved to Florida, and we were living in a 2-bedroom condominium in what I call penitentiary style living. It was enclosed with like a 12-foot wall around it. It's secure and gate and all that. And for me, it was like a prison. I really did not enjoy living there. For my ex, for him, he saw it as exclusive. But he grew up on a Caribbean island, and his homes were all behind gated fences for crime. There's great crime in the Caribbean. And so we grew up so differently. My ex is Dutch and from the island of Curacao. So things were rough between us. He didn't have any respect for me at one point and saw me just as a paycheck. And when someone loses control of everything, they come at you even harder. You're kind of like the protagonist in the situation, and started blaming me for all the financial woes that we went through, even though I had no control of the money or the finances. Basically, since we got married, he came from a very wealthy family. And when you go into a wealthy family, you don't go in and say, hey, I need to see the books. He provided for our family and our household, so I felt there was no need to ask and pry where their family money came from. So I was left in the dark, and when he lost everything in the end, he lost control. So then he became more controlling with me. And it started getting physical. So that's when I left, because I actually did fear for my safety. Once someone says to you, you know I won't hurt you. Well, I found that to be a red flag. And I said to him, no, I don't know if you're going to hurt me or not. And so I really was very unhappy. My father had passed away. We had lost everything. We were evicted from our townhouse in Manhattan, which I don't think I'll ever get over. And it was just the way it went down. So we were living in Florida, and our marriage was really bad. So I had reached out to a friend of mine, actually the friend that introduced me to him. I met him on a blind date, and it was love at first sight. And then we got married a few years later. And I reached out to her. I saw her previously for 2 years earlier, and things were okay. Little did I know that the boyfriend that she brought into her life was a drug addict and a drug dealer. I reached out for her to help me. And she felt obligated to help me because I had helped her in her life so much. And so she and he came up with this plan. I was going to prepare to take my stuff and pack it up and go. But I had to do this under secrecy because I was actually going to blindside my husband. And I am not proud of this. It breaks my heart every time I think of it. But unfortunately, I knew he would never let me go. And it wasn't because of love, it was all about control. I mean, when you're married to a narcissist, I don't know if they ever loved me or you. I think they love us and what I brought to the relationship. I don't know if he ever truly loved me because I don't know if they understand what true love really means. So I knew he would never have let me go. He would have put every obstacle in the way. He actually did start putting obstacles in the way financially. People can't leave most of the time because of finances. That is the biggest roadblock. I left anyway with $44.44 to my name. And I dove into the deep end. I do not recommend this for anyone. You have to be very strong, very courageous, self-reliant, and believe in yourself. So I left anyway. And it still breaks my heart. That's the way I had to leave. But I knew he would never have let me go. And so they came up, my friend and the boyfriend came up with this plan. And the plan was that they were going to drive their truck, take all my things. And I did not like the plan, but beggars can't be choosers. I had to just accept what was thrown at me. And the plan was to put my things in the back of their truck. They were going to drive me to the airport. And I was going to catch a plane to Maryland, to Baltimore. And they had to go across the state to go make sure they saw their contractor. So it was horrible, absolutely horrible. So they come into our community, and I'm ready to go, shaking like a leaf, because here I am, uprooting my entire existence for the last 30 years. I am going to probably destroy my life, ruin, just change my whole direction of life, which I did. I was a nervous wreck, shaking, holding back tears. I am destroying my 30-year marriage, which is all I knew at that point. And it was horrific. And they did everything with haste, no nurturing, no calming me down, no sympathy, no empathy. It was like I was a bother. And so they toss all my stuff in the back of their truck because they have to make sure they get, to their contractor on time. There was no care whatsoever. None. And then they take me to the airport. Basically, it dumped me at the airport. They bought a plane ticket for me because I had no money. But they bought a plane ticket that was the cheapest, that had me sitting in the airport for like 7 hours waiting for the flight. And I was going to the north when it was cold. It was January. So I had a vest on, but I wasn't allowed to get a winter coat. Oh, you don't need a coat. My parents are picking you up. You don't need your luggage. We'll be back in 2 days. You don't need a toothbrush. I had nothing but my handbag and the clothes on my back. They tossed me at the airport and they raced to go get to whatever they had to do. There was no care, no love. I was in the way. It was horrible. I get to the airport and I'm basically sitting there frightened for 7 hours, thinking my ex is going to run in any day and pull me back in. And I was shaking. I couldn't eat. I almost threw up. I couldn't focus on anything. I was basically an effing wreck. And it hurts to this day that like my friends just didn't really care. Here I am ending a 30-year relationship, and it was devastating, and they just treated it like, well, we'll do what we can, we'll help you, but it was just so unloving, uncaring, so done in haste. It was horrific. I think of it in my head now, and I cringe. It was horrible. So I get on this plane, and this is just before COVID is breaking out. This is January of 2020, the end of January. So I get on this plane and I get up to Maryland, to Baltimore, and my girlfriend's parents meet me there. And they're asking me about my luggage, and like, well, they didn't allow me to take any luggage. Well, they looked at me like, wait, what? How could they not let you take any luggage? I didn't have a toothpaste, a toothbrush, I didn't have a coat, gloves, mittens, anything. And then I go to their house and I can't sleep. I am a fudging wreck, a complete wreck. And I don't know if I just destroyed my life or creating a new life. I didn't know what from what. I was in complete devastation because I just ended a 30-year marriage by walking out with nothing, because there's nothing left. We lost everything. And I was completely destroyed, broken, heart-wrenched. My kids are going to hate me because I left their dad. Yeah, I know they're going to hate me. Because, when you're with a narcissist, they're the victim, and, they paint everything like, it's like, look what your mom did to me. And so I knew that I was going to have to rebuild that road to my children again. And they play victim, and because he made sure never to attack me in front of our children. In fact, it was the opposite. What they do is get very demonstrative with their love. So if anyone were to ask me, about our relationship, if he was ever, physically abusive in front of people, well, the answer would be no. He was the opposite. He was so loving and caring, because they make sure they're on a stage, and they're making sure that the perception, it's all about perception, that they're making sure that the perception to other people that Robin must be out of her mind, I was the best husband in the world. And so that was a big leap too, because I knew he was going to play victim and look what your mom did to me, and I was going to have to rebuild that road, which I have had to do. And to this day, I have a relationship with my children, but it's never been the same. It's never been the same. I was a stay-home mom, dedicated my life to my children, but all they know is that I left dad. Yeah, I don't know if they believe all the reasons why, but that's not important. I had to do what I had to do for my safety and for my well-being. And so things were getting rough with us in Florida, and he started to attack me, and the verbal abuse and the crazy things he was saying, I had to leave. And so I arrive in Baltimore, and I go to my girlfriend's parents' house, and I can't sleep at all. I am a wreck. And luckily, the mother used to be a therapist, so I was able to really speak to her and open up with her. And I was a wreck. And then 2 days later, they finally did arrive back and into Maryland, and I was going to go to their house. And they had a house on the Chesapeake Bay, a very pretty house, and they had a guest house, a little guest hut. And that's where I was going to stay. I wasn't allowed to live in the big house. I had to stay at the guest house, which was also not fun. There were a lot of issues that went on with that. And but he didn't want me to stay in the house, even though they had a guest room. and a guest bathroom right off the ensuite from their room. So he didn't want me to hear what was going on between them. So I was going to be delegated to the guest house in the winter. So that was the beginning of that. And that is for another video. I'm going to end it here because I don't want to make them too long and bore the crap out of you. And it's a lot of stories that got me to where I am now. I'm not where I want to be now, but I'm working on it, and it's every single day is a little step further to my independence, my autonomy, my rebirth, my growth. I'm surviving. It's been really difficult, but I'm making it because I have to make it, and I want to make these videos not only to show other people to find their strength, that if you're in an abusive relationship, that you can survive it. You do not have to stay. It is a hard, hard road. I'm not going to say it's not. It's extremely difficult, but you can do it. You know, if you have self-preservation, you have to have discipline, perseverance, grit. I have a lot of grit, and I'm very independent. And so I'm going to make it no matter what. And I want to show other people that you can be strong too. You do not have to take any abuse that you're taking. And I wasn't going to take it. And I wasn't going to be blamed for all of the mistakes that he had made and blamed me because I didn't handle the business side. It was horrible. And then he came back blaming me. And then again, blaming me, in his mind, I was the protagonist on why our lives fell apart. I was not about to take that. I wasn't going to take that. I was not going to allow him to make me the villain in all this. And he was the victim. I wasn't going to allow this. And so I took the deep dive and I left. And I'm not proud how I left. I blindsided someone, which is so not my style. But I had gone through 22 years of therapy while I was married to him. It was not an easy marriage. We just made it work. And I think it worked because, one, I was in therapy a lot, and two, he was gone a lot. He traveled around the world all the time, and he was gone a lot. So it's very challenging and difficult, but I chose to leave, and now I'm rebuilding every single day of my life. And I just give thanks and praise to God and Jesus for getting me this far. And I am so grateful for my two beautiful children. I have good health, and I will make it. And I wish you all the best, and I will see you in the next video, and I hope you have a wonderful day. My name, again, is Robin. And my story is called Follow the Sun Journey. I also am a psychic medium, and I have a website called Follow the Sun Tarot, and I do readings. And so if you'd like to book a reading, you could go there. But I want to wish you all a wonderful day, and I hope I see you again here the next time. Take care. Bye-bye.